Are you looking for thought-provoking commentary and hard-hitting analysis? Well, you'd come to the wrong place. Welcome to Post-TAP with your host, the one and hopefully only JoshAgeddon.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another wonderlicious episode of Post-TAP here with your boy, JoshAgeddon. And,
Powering on.
Oh. I accidentally turned on my lightsaber. My bad. I guess we're starting this episode with me playing with my lightsaber. 2026 is off to a weird start. I'm having a lightsaber duel on a podcast. Alright, there's enough of that. Hold on. Damn it. Everything's falling apart. Alright, hang on.
Powering down.
There we go. Welcome to Post-TAP, where technology is rapidly betraying me. It was another one of those, your antivirus protection has expired. And I'm like, cool, I didn't already know that. Thanks for reminding me and interrupting my wonderful podcast for all of the beautiful listeners. The first minute of this podcast is just absolute insanity. Welcome to Post-TAP. My name's JoshAgeddon. It's been a little bit since the last episode, and since then, a whole bunch of stuff's been happening, and there's some things that I want to discuss here on this episode, and obviously I want to discuss something, because you're listening to me discuss it now. Congratulations, that's how ideas work. If it's not obvious, I literally just woke up. It is 10:32 a.m. on January 22nd as I'm recording. I literally just crawled out of bed. So if I'm a little discombobulated and nothing I'm saying makes sense, it's because I just woke up. So, before I begin, because there are a few things I want to talk about, I guess I'll just go ahead and give you the rundown. I'm going to be giving a brief review of TNA Genesis, because I did watch it yesterday. I have some Royal Rumble predictions, because the Royal Rumble is not this coming Saturday, but the next Saturday. And I watched 28 years later, The Bone Temple, and I have a bone to pick with that temple. Aha! Where's Gary? Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it so kindly, your patronage. Alright, so before I get into all of that, a little bit of a programming note. There is a huge ice storm that is allegedly coming this way here in the Carolinas. This supposed to, from what I hear, it's either supposed to start Friday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, and there's supposed to be a lot of ice, so there's a chance that I might lose power, and if I do lose power for a couple days, I obviously won't be able to upload anything for a couple days. So if my channel goes dark for a couple days, then that's why, because again, there's supposed to be an ice storm, and well, that's going to be fun to deal with. Especially considering the fact that my job is I am a pizza delivery man. I was like a pizza deliver man, and I was like, that's redundant. Is it obvious that I just woke up? But yeah, as a Pizza Hut delivery man, that's what I was trying to say the first time. My brain is not working. I am concerned. I will not be driving on ice. What everyone's like, oh, my mom is like, oh my, you literally won't be able to get out of your driveway, because this happened several years ago, and my mom was supposed to go to work, but she literally could not get her car out of our driveway because there was so much ice. If that happens, then oh well, I literally won't be able to go to work. But if it's kind of bad, but not really that bad, I'm going to be driving real slow. So if you are in the Lancaster area, within the jurisdiction of the Pizza Hut on Airport Road, and you order a pizza for delivery, first off, shame on you. Second of all, as soon as I say that, I'm also hungry, so if you hear my stomach rumbling in the background, I'm hungry, and as soon as I'm done with this podcast, I'm going to get a slice of pizza. But yeah, if you order a pizza during this ice storm, you're a terrible person, and you should be ashamed of yourself, because you're literally it's like whenever I'm at work, there will be nothing on the screen for like an hour, and then it'll start raining really bad, and then all of a sudden everyone starts ordering pizza, because they want one of the drivers to die. So yeah, if you do order a pizza and there's ice on the road, be expecting your delivery in about 2 times as long as it would normally take, because I'm not dying. Like, how did you die, sir? Oh, I fought in a war and died for my country. How did you die, sir? I stopped a bank robbery and I got shot in the face. How did you die, sir? I was delivering a pizza and I slipped on ice and crashed into a tree. It's like just not exactly how I want to go. I want to die peacefully in a bed or die doing something awesome. Dying while delivering pizza is neither of those things. So, yeah, if we could not, I'm looking forward to this weekend being over, this storm coming and going, and then we get back to business as usual. So I'm very excited for this being over with, and I'm just tired of weather. That's how I feel today. I'm tired of weather. So yeah, if you don't hear from me, or if there's no videos for a little bit, then that's probably because my house has lost power because of the ice storm. And again, you try uploading videos to YouTube and Rumble when you have no power at your house, and you tell me how that goes, bitch. Don't tell me what to do. All right. So, once again, there's an ice storm, and I'm not looking forward to it. And if you don't hear anything from me for a while, it's because I'm buried in ice. Please send some microwaves, flamethrowers, or heating irons, or anything that can melt ice, because I like uploading videos. And whenever my videos have stopped being uploaded, I get a little ornery. And if you don't know what that word means, you have Google. You also have a dictionary. Actually, do people have paper dictionaries anymore? Like hardback dictionaries? I have a dictionary and a thesaurus at my house. And you have a smartphone. So you could download a dictionary app today. Not sponsored. Dude, if I could get this podcast sponsored by the dictionary, I feel like that would just be the dumbest sponsorship I could possibly get. But hey, Merriam-Webster, if you're out there listening to this podcast, you don't have my number, but you're listening to this podcast. So my socials are in the links in the description down below, and I highly encourage you to get into contact with me so we can pursue this partnership even further. And don't act like you don't understand what I'm saying. You're literally a dictionary. So this bit is really stupid. Also, speaking of things of the such, I'm so tired. I started a new channel. It is called The Iconoclast. It's funny because I did a little advertisement for it on the XTW Game On pay-per-view this past Tuesday, but I actually forgot to put the link in the description of the Game On pay-per-view. You know what? Actually, I'm going to pause this podcast right now so I can go do that, because I still haven't done that because I'm an idiot.
12 seconds later.
All right, I done did it. The link has been added to the description of the Game On pay-per-view event, which, thank you everyone that stopped by and watched the Game On pay-per-view. That was an absolute chore to put together. Like, it took me a week and a half to put that show together, and it was exhausting, and I'm glad to be done with it. And now we turn our eyes upon Riot Central 3, and I'm going to torture myself some more, because apparently I'm very good at that. But anyway, so yeah, and yes, I do have a bunch of SpongeBob time card transition sound effects. And I have a lot of unnecessary sound bites, which you may hear more of over the course of this podcast. So, and if you don't like it, well, Cody,
go fuck yourself!
The crowd going insane in the background always gets me with that. But yeah, damn right. So yeah, go subscribe to the Iconoclast. Basically, it's going to be a political channel. There's one video that's already up talking about the whole Minneapolis ice shooting controversy and my totally not controversial at all opinions on that particular matter. And there will be more videos soon. I'm planning on making if my house is still working, if I've survived the ice storm, funnily enough. Renee Good didn't. Wow. Okay, that was all right. If you know, you know. That was dark. But anyway, so if the power at my house is still working, on Monday I'm planning on making a video basically explaining what the channel is for, what I'm planning on doing with it, the reason behind the name, and just some stuff you might want to expect on the Iconoclast channel. I have a lot of political opinions that I would love to force upon the masses, and that's basically the gist of it. So yeah, go subscribe to the Iconoclast for a bunch of offensive shenaniganery that is politically charged. So yeah. So to business. I guess I'm gonna start off with talking about 28 years later, the Bone Temple, because I actually saw it the other day. And I was gonna go to a movie theater to see it, but I was tired, so I pirated it. Yarg. Just admitting to crimes here on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, so I watched it in the comfort of my own home, and I guess I'll start by, I just got an email. They heard me admitting to piracy. Oh, it was Indeed. I'll look for a new job at some point when I'm not podcasting. Thanks, Indeed. But anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, 28 years later, the Bone Temple. All right, so last year I saw 28 years later, and I did mention it in my ranking every movie that I saw in 2025 podcast, which if you have not heard that, go listen to that and then come right back. Actually, finish listening to this first and then go listen. You have a lot of homework to do. I do a lot of talking. So yeah, that I thought 28 years later was weird. Very weirdly edited, very weirdly shot, very well acted, and it was crazy, and it definitely nailed the horror vibe, but I just thought it was a very strange movie. 28 years later, The Bone Temple, which is a direct sequel, and they filmed these back to back. I also thought it was very weird. It was not as weird as 28 years later, but it was also very weird. It almost felt like it was edited by a different person. Like it felt like within the same universe, but not. I guess every 28 movie has a different feel and aesthetic to it, a different editing style. Because the first movie, 28 Days Later, was very low budget. Almost felt like it wasn't found footage, but it kind of felt like it because again, it did not have a big budget, and it kind of worked for that movie. I still have not seen 28 Weeks Later. I need to watch that. But 28 Years Later felt like a big budget movie, but there was so many weird editing choices. Like, whenever they would, shoot someone with a bow and arrow, the screen would freeze, and it would, pan around the person that got shot through the face, and then they would just crumple to the ground dead. And there were a lot of unnecessary cutaways to, random B-roll of other movies, and it was just weird. There was none of that in The Bone Temple. There was, the weird, self-indulgent edits that were in 28 Years Later were not present in The Bone Temple. But it still felt it was weird. I don't know how to describe it. Some of the weird editing carried over, but a lot of, there was no, random B-roll of old movies spliced in for no reason. And there was no, slow-mo quick kill cams in this movie, which I appreciated. It actually made me like this movie more than 28 Years Later. I do think that The Bone Temple's a better movie, because those weird-ass edits in 28 Years Later really just detracted from the movie, in my opinion. But 28 Years Later was wilder and crazier, and there was a little bit of wildness and craziness in The Bone Temple, but not as much. It felt more like a psychological horror movie than anything else, which, again, honestly, zombie apocalypse going in the direction that The Bone Temple went, not something I would expect. Not something I would expect at all. One thing I will say that I wasn't super crazy about, and something I wasn't super crazy about with 28 Years Later as well, Spike, who's the little kid, who's kind of the main character of the two movies, kind of. His dad, whose name escapes me at the moment, He's like in the first half of 28 Years Later, and then you just never see him again. Until the very end of 28 Years Later. He's not even in the Bone Temple. So, he's just dropped off the face of the earth, which, there are rumors and rumblings that they're going to do another movie to cap off the 28 Years Later trilogy, which I would be down for. I am curious to see how this all wraps up. Maybe he'll be in that one. I don't know. But he wasn't anywhere in the Bone Temple. So, and it just kind of felt forgotten, which was weird. And Spike took a bit of a backseat because there was so much else going on. Basically, in this movie, and I'm going to go full on spoilers. If you have not seen the Bone Temple, then spoilers. There's your warning. So, he came across this dude named Jimmy Crystal, who is like a full-blown Satanist, who literally thinks he is the son of Satan, and he hears voices. And he has an evil gang of misfits that he calls the Fingers, which is an interesting name for a group of people. I mean, in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it was the Foot. And in that one Elektra movie that everyone hates, it was the Hand. And now with these people, it's the Fingers. So, when are we going to have a group of bad guys who's just named the Liver, the Pancreas, the Lungs, the Heart? Alright. So, the Fingers, and I'm even using my fingers for air quotes. I'm going to be saying the word fingers. I'm going to be saying the word fingers a lot, and if you don't like me talking about my fingers, then this is the wrong podcast for you. I apologize. So yeah, the Fingers saved Spike at the end of the previous movie, and they've basically adopted him. And the movie starts with, all right, basically, if you want to be a part of our group, then you have to kill one of the Fingers, but he can also kill you, so have fun, and it's a death match. It's basically like in The Dark Knight, when the Joker was like, we're going to have tryouts. And he breaks that pool stick, and basically 3 guys are like, all right, who's going to be the one to pick it up and stab the other 2? Basically kind of like that. And so now he's with this family of Fingers. This is such a weird movie to describe. And they're going around sacrificing people to Satan. So yeah, this movie went there. Like, they literally attack a homestead with random people, including a pregnant lady. The pregnant lady escapes. Spoilers! But they skin alive people, sacrificing them to Satan. It's very weird, very bizarre. Until the pregnant lady kills one of them, and then Spike tries to get away, but it doesn't work. And he's stuck with these people. He's stuck with these evil, crazy Satanists and their very charismatic leader, Jimmy Crystal. And they all wear wigs. This movie's very strange to describe. This was a very bizarre movie. And, but honestly, what really interested me the most was Dr. Kessler, who was in the previous movie, who is becoming friends with an alpha infected named Samson, and basically he's loading him up with drugs, trying to figure out, okay, is this infection curable? Because he whenever Samson tries to kill him, he like shoots him with like a tranquilizer dart that has a bunch of like morphine and shit in it to calm Samson down. Because again, the infected in these 28 movies, the virus is like a rage virus that like drives you crazy. And you like Samson literally, the first time we see Samson in the movie, he literally rips a dude's head off and starts eating his brain. Yeah, this movie is so weird. So Samson gets addicted to these tranquilizer darts. This movie is so weird to describe. We have an infected rage zombie who has a painkiller addiction. Whoever scripted this movie is an absolute madman. So, but Samson is getting addicted to this tranquilizer dart, so he's purposefully like getting himself shot with it. Like there was a part where he's like creeping up to Dr. Kessler, but he's not like charging him, but he's basically trying to bait him into shooting him so he can get tranked. So basically, Dr. Kessler forms a... Oh, and there's also more infected penis. Because in 28 years later, the infected Alpha, Samson, we got to see his enormous giant penis. Well, in this movie, not only do we get to see his enormous girthy penis, we also got to see Dr. Kessler's penis for a couple seconds, and he has a normal-sized penis. So we got to see various penis sizes in this movie. I can see why they call it the Bone Temple. 28 inches later, the Bone Temple. Dear God, what porno is this? What have I stumbled upon here in this movie? I thought I was watching a zombie apocalypse, and now people are just whipping out their penises. I don't know what to think anymore. And his name is Samson. He has a strong penis. His penis is flexing at me, and I don't know how to feel about it. But anyway, I apologize if you're eating while watching this, while listening to this podcast. My appetite has flown south for the winter. But anyway, so yeah, they're becoming buddies, and basically he's trying to figure out if he can cure the infection, or at least bring back Samson's sanity. And Dr. Kessler and Samson and the Fingers with Spike, they merge together. They meet at some point during the movie, and basically Jimmy Crystal, the leader of the Fingers, believes that Dr. Kessler is Satan, his father, who he calls Old Nick. I don't know what the Old Nick thing means, but I think that was his father's name, the priest at the beginning of 28 Years Later, the previous movie. So, he thinks that Dr. Kessler is Satan because of the way he's dressed, but then he figures out, oh, wait, so you're not Satan? And Dr. Kessler's like, no, I'm an atheist. And so they're just chatting, and he's like, well, my followers think that you're Satan, so if you could pretend to be Satan, that'd be great, and if you don't pretend to be Satan, I'll literally murder you. So that leads to them meeting Dr. Kessler, who's pretending to be Satan, and he literally puts on an Iron Maiden concert. I'm not joking. This movie is absolutely, positively insane. He literally, he's throwing, airborne, psychedelics at them to enhance the mood. He literally puts on an Iron Maiden concert, and he's dressed in this black suit and makeup, pretending to be the devil, and it's very, very, very strange. This is one of the strangest movies I've ever watched. The 28 Years Later was one of the strangest movies I've ever watched, simply because of the editing choices. The script in this movie was absolutely bonkers. And I'm just sitting there like, what the hell am I watching? If you are interested, then by all means go watch this movie, but it's very strange. But then it took a turn for something that I really did not like. So basically, Dr. Kessler discovers that Spike is one of the Fingers, and they met in the previous movie, and basically he discovered that Spike's mom has some kind of brain tumor, some kind of advanced brain cancer, and euthanized her, and it was a very sad, sweet moment in that movie, so they have a relationship. So he tries to manipulate the Fingers into crucifying Jimmy Crystal, and that leads to them just trying to stab each other. Dr. Kessler gets stabbed, Jimmy Crystal gets stabbed, the other Fingers get stabbed, except for this one girl that Spike kind of likes, who's kind of like, I kind of like you, and I don't want you to die. She's basically his protector in the movie, kind of, but she's also kind of insane. So basically everyone gets stabbed except for that one girl and Spike. And they nail Jimmy Crystal to an upside down cross, and they really start going hard with the Antichrist, Jesus Christ, Satan, God symbolism. And not gonna lie, I didn't really like it. It just rubbed me the wrong way. I'm just sitting here thinking, this is supposed to be like a zombie apocalypse thing. Why are we doing an upside down crucifixion, Antichrist, weird, blasphemous type deal here in the middle of this movie? I just didn't like it, especially because when Samson, because Dr. Kessler gave Samson a bunch of antipsychotics, because he's basically when the infected are hallucinating, and that's why they're attacking people. So they must be in psychosis. So he's giving them antipsychotic medication. He gives Samson some antipsychotics, and then Samson kind of wanders off to the train that was in the previous movie, and he's having all sorts of hallucinations. And then he starts talking and gets attacked by regular infected. And it's actually a pretty badass scene where he's beating up a bunch of infected. So he comes back to the Bone Temple after the whole craziness has happened. And he walks off with Dr. Kessler's dead body. But since he's this big hulking figure, Jimmy Crystal is hallucinating. He's already been crucified upside down. And Jimmy Crystal is hallucinating. And he thinks that Samson is the devil. So Samson's leaving with Dr. Kessler. And what really was pushing it over the edge with me not liking it is he starts yelling to who he thinks is Satan. He's like, Father, why have you forsaken me? And I'm just like, really? We went there? We really went there? I mean, on one hand, the evil, Satanist, psychotic cult leader dude literally got crucified upside down and gets murdered by an infected. So he got his comeuppance, but did we really have to go with him quoting Jesus? Really? Did we really have to go there? I did not like that at all. I got what they were going for, but I feel like they went a little. I feel like that it got a little self-indulgent. It got a little too artsy to the. It got a little too artsy to the point of coming off as blasphemous, and I really did not like that. It kind of gave me the Last Temptation of the Christ vibes, which that movie in and of itself, in my opinion, is incredibly blasphemous. Basically, if you don't know, the plot of The Last Temptation of Christ is basically, it's like, what if Jesus didn't get crucified and started a family? And I've never seen that movie, and I have no interest in seeing that movie because it just comes off as very blasphemous. And this started teetering. 28 years later, the Bone Temple started teetering on the edge of that. And I was like, really? Are we really doing this? Are we really going here with this? I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong. Like, they didn't go. Like, it wasn't. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but it did start teetering on. Like, all right, like, okay, you can stop now with the Jesus allegories and symbolism. I really don't like where this is going. Like, again, the evil Satanist, the evil Satan worshiper got murdered, so and got his comeuppance. So that's good, but I didn't really like the way they did it. It just rubbed me the wrong way. So yeah, and then right after that, huge spoilers. Then we cut to the very end of the movie, which is Cillian Murphy's character Jim from the original 28 Days Later. He's with, I assume, his daughter, and they're studying for some kind of test. She's studying for some kind of exam or whatever. And then they hear Spike and the girl, who I think's name is Kelly. They're running away from a bunch of infected, and they go out, and they're like, and his daughter's like, should we help them? And Jim's like, of course. And then they run off to go help them, and that's how the movie ends. So Cillian Murphy, he reprised his character at the very end of this movie. So 28 years later, 3 is going to have Cillian Murphy in it, if they even make it. Which, I don't know. It's in a little bit of doubt right now because 28 years later, The Bone Temple apparently is not doing that great at the box office. Which doesn't surprise me at all because, like, I mean, 28 years later came out, like, what, 6, 7, 8 months ago? And I don't think I've ever seen a sequel come out this close to the previous movie. And it's not like people were super crazy about 28 years later in the first place. So this was a very strange movie. It was very weird. Like, again, the editing was more normal, so it was easier to follow. It wasn't as weirdly edited as the previous movie, but the script in this one, the screenwriting, was what was very bizarre. And there were some cool ideas, but then the ending got a little too blasphemous for my liking. So maybe you'll have a problem with that. Maybe you won't. I had a little bit of a problem with that. I wasn't super crazy. I don't like characters in movies basically quoting Jesus inappropriately. I just don't like that. And I also don't like seeing movies where characters not named Jesus get crucified. Like, again, I get it. I just don't like that. I just feel like it's disrespectful. I feel like it's disrespectful and teetering on blasphemy, and I just don't like it at all. But that's just my opinion. If you've seen 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, what did you think of it? Did you find it blasphemous? Are you an atheist, and did you not care? Just, what did you think of it? I thought it was fine. Wasn't super crazy about it. I liked it about as much as I liked 28 Years Later. So, if they make a third one, I might go see it just to see how this whole thing concludes, but we'll see. Alright, now to the let's talk about pro wrestling for an hour portion of this podcast. I saw TNA Genesis yesterday, which is their first pay-per-view of the year. And I'm not going to go full balls to the walls like a normal TAW pay-per-view review, where I talk about a pay-per-view for like an hour and I go like point by point. And of course, Sean and Skylar are not going to be here, and this is not going to be 3 hours. But I'm just going to quickly run through every match and give my thoughts and my overall thoughts on my overall thoughts on TNA Genesis this year, especially coming off of what I heard was a really bad AMC debut. I have heard nothing but complaints about the Impact debut on AMC this past week. And from what I've heard, yikes. Yikes, TNA. Can you please stop? TNA, LOL, TNA. It'll never stop being a thing, but I wish it would stop being a thing. But it's TNA, so you can only expect so much. But that immediately led to TNA Genesis, and I did actually watch the match where Mike Santana defeated Frankie Kazarian to win back the TNA World Title. And it was a good match, although the ending, near the end, it got a little sloppy. They screwed up a spot they were trying to do. And then they got a little crazy with, like, no-selling. Like, they did a Canadian Destroyer, and Mike Santana responded by immediately going for his finishing move, the spin around the block, that discus clothesline, which, I'm not going to lie, for Mike Santana, I think spin the block is a crappy finisher. He does not do, like Luke Harper, Brody Lee did an awesome, fantastic looking discus lariat. And a few other people have done, like Natalia does a great discus lariat. I'm sorry, Mike Santana's discus lariat sucks. It does not look good. So I wasn't like, the match was fine, but I wasn't super crazy about the ending of it because, like, he no-sold a Canadian Destroyer because, of course, and then he won the TNA title back, and then that leads us directly into TNA Genesis, which overall TNA Genesis was the most B show to have ever beat a show. It was fine. Nothing on the show was awful. There were a couple things I did not like, which I'll get to, but it was a decent, passable show. But it just felt more like, honestly, I felt like I was watching an episode of Impact, like a really long episode of Impact with a lot of matches, instead of watching a pay-per-view. Like, it just felt like a B show. Nothing really important happened. Nothing really super crazy happened. So we'll start off, and it got off to a bad start with AJ Francis defeating Rich Swann in a singles match that went 12 godforsaken minutes. I hate AJ Francis, or what was his name, Top Dollar, but when he was, the dumb guy that became Flop Dollar, that dude with Hit Row, who a couple years ago tried to do that Tope con Hilo to the outside and botched it so horrifically that it became a meme for a while. That moron. Why does this dude still wrestle? And why am I still watching this dude wrestle in 2020? He's not good at it. I'm sorry, he's not good at it, and I just think that he is a complete and total waste of time. And he wrestled Rich Swann for 12 minutes, and with each passing minute, I was like, can this end? Can this end, please? And then Rich Swann gave him a Canadian Destroyer, which was so ridiculous looking, and I groaned. And then AJ Francis turned around and pinned him with a chokeslam. Great. Like, why is AJ Francis winning matches? Why is he not a jobber? Why is he in a wrestling company? Professional wrestling is the only sport where people that are bad at it are allowed to be in it. Like, I swear to God. Like, I'm moving on. I'm not giving this the time of day because I hated it. I can't stand AJ Francis. He's just, everything about him sucks. His music sucks. His look sucks. His in-ring sucks. He sucks. Find a new career. Just bad. Just bad. And he did a Styles Clash. Great, because his name, you are the worst AJ. Like, would I rather watch AJ Francis wrestle or listen to an AJ Lee promo? I might actually just jump off of a roof. Or deliver pizza driving as fast as I can on ice and drive directly into a tree. So anyway, there was that, and then we had Mustafa Ali versus Elijah, the former Elias in WWE, in a singles match, and this was fine. Again, like, this was just another match, and it was fine. And Mustafa Ali is great, and Elijah's actually getting a little bit better. The dude is so ripped. And they just had a regular match, and it ended with Mustafa Ali hitting him in the back with a guitar and pinning him. So it was an average undercard match, and Mustafa Ali is actually going to be wrestling Jeff Hardy today on Impact, and I'm actually kind of interested in that match. But yeah, this was fine. Nothing super crazy. And then we had Eddie Edwards versus JDC, the former Fandango, in a singles match, and this was actually JDC's retirement match. The most unceremonious retirement match I think I've ever... This was the complete and total opposite of the John Cena retirement match and the Tanahashi retirement match at Wrestle Kingdom this past year. Like a couple weeks ago, this past January. Like, with Cena and Tanahashi, so much pomp and circumstance. Like, it was a big deal, and it felt like a big deal. This was an undercard retirement match, and just no one really cared that much. Like, they had a few people in the aisleway to, like, clap and, like, stand up, and they had the announcer stand up and clap for JDC. But, man, if I wrestled for 27 years and this was my retirement, I would just be depressed. Like, no one really cared. The match was good, though. Like, the match was actually really good. Eddie Edwards, who is fat now, and is just... What happened to Eddie Edwards? And Eddie and JDC, who are... Although I will say, when after the first match, what TNA likes to do is they'll have the first match, and then they'll have the announcers run down the card. One of the announcers said, Eddie Edwards and JDC, who are real-life friends, by the way... Can we not? Like, I get it. The fourth wall has been broken so asunder that no one could possibly even fathom the idea of thinking that wrestling is real. Kayfabe has long since been dead, but can we not say these guys are real-life friends, by the way, on a wrestling show? Can we not do that? Please. That got on my nerves. But yeah, they worked really well together, and Eddie Edwards defeated JDC with multiple Boston knee parties, which is also kind of a lame finishing move. Like, the pun is funny, but it's just a shining wizard, and it's not even the shiniest wizard, but the person that does the shiniest wizard, if she was on this show, she'd be refusing to lose matches, and then people would not want to work with her, and also she's a lesbian, so there's that. But anyway... So yeah, this was a good match, and my favorite part of it was JDC like using some of Chris Jericho's offense, because the biggest victory of his career was defeating Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 29. So in this match, he actually used the Walls of Jericho and a code breaker, so that was nice, and more hinting at Chris Jericho likely appearing at the Royal Rumble, which is again this upcoming not this Saturday, but the Saturday afterwards. But yeah, this was fun. This was the best thing on the show up to this point. So yeah, this was good. Although, again, after seeing John Cena and Tanahashi retire, this, in comparison, was kind of pathetic. Like, there was no pomp and circumstance whatsoever. This was a retirement match that was the third match on a show. This was an undercard retirement, so it was kind of sad. And then we had my least favorite thing on the show. We had Ryan Nemeth versus Mara Sade in an intergender match. This sucked. I don't like intergender matches at all. Men should wrestle men and women should wrestle women. This was not good. This was a complete and total waste of 5 minutes. Why was this not on the pre-show? This was a complete and total waste of time. Ryan Nemeth is not Nick Nemeth. Like, they are related in name only, and they kind of looks like I can see like the physical resemblance. But man, Ryan Nemeth has like 1/3 of the charisma of Nick Nemeth and 1/8 of the wrestling ability. Ryan Nemeth is not Nick Nemeth, and it is blindingly obvious. And I did not care about this at all. This was just a complete and total waste of time. This whole pay-per-view was honestly kind of a waste of time, honestly. But then we had Li Ying Lee, who is the former Xia Li from WWE. A lot of this show was nothing but WWE castaways. Which, this show was honestly just the state of TNA in a nutshell. Like, oh, this is a guy this was an undercard guy in WWE once. Oh, look, another guy who was once an undercard guy. And this show was Battle of the Undercard WWE guys. But yeah, Li Ying Lee defended the TNA Knockouts Championship, the TNA Knockouts World Title, against Zarya. And that was another thing about this show. This was a pay-per-view, but there was a grand total of 2 championship matches, which led to the overall pay-per-view just feeling unimportant. If I could sum up this pay-per-view in one word, it would be unimportant. And although some of that's not their fault, like the whole visa issues thing, like the X Division champion, Leon Slater, like literally physically could not be at the show because of the visa issues, so that's not their fault. But either way, we had Li Ying Lee, the most redundant name ever, versus Zarya in what was actually a really good match. I will say, no one actually does women's wrestling like or better than, or at least in the West. Here in the West, honestly, no one does women's wrestling quite like TNA does, because WWE's women's division is kind of awful, and AEW's women's division is the absolute drizzling shits. And like seriously, watching Wrestle Kingdom with that one women's match that completely blew every other women's match I've seen in a while completely out of the water. Like, I went from watching that to I watched Becky Lynch versus Maxine Dupree for the Women's Intercontinental title on Raw. And that match was fine. But going from that to, like, this, it's night and day. And I will say, I used to hate Xia Li. Xia Li used to be absolutely like, I remember watching her in the Mae Young Classic back in, like, it was either 2016 or it was like 2017 or 2018, whichever year it was. And she was the worst. She was absolutely atrocious. She's gotten a lot better in the preceding decade. So she's improved a lot. She actually had a good match with Zarya, and Zarya who's in NXT. She's actually really good herself, and she actually has a lot of potential. And she started wrestling like in what, 2019, 2020? I believe they said she started wrestling in 2020. She's got a lot of potential. She's very good. She's definitely got a look and a personality, and she can go. And these two put on a really good match. There was a part where Xia Brookside and Sol Ruka fought off the Elegance brand who was there at ringside, and that just kind of happened. And then we went back to the match, and I was like, okay, that was kind of random. Like, I understand why you did that, but the way it was done just felt kind of random, and I was like, all right, well, that was the thing that happened. And then what impressed me was Li Ying Lee hit her finishing, I forget what she called it, But it was essentially like on XTW, Alex Mercer uses the Mercer virus, which is like an inverted Samoan drop where you drop them on their face. Li Ying Li, who is a tiny woman, picked up Zarya, who is a huge woman, and dropped her on her face with an inverted Samoan drop. That was impressive. It wasn't the most impactful looking move ever, but it was believable, and it was impressive that she got her up for that. So, Li Ying Li won, and then she was confronted by Elania Black, who was basically Cora Jade from NXT, who, I guess that's going to be Li Ying Li's next opponent for the Knockouts Championship, and cool, I guess. More WWE/NXT castaways. Yay. Can you hear my enthusiasm? But, I mean, this was good. Honestly, up to this point, this and Eddie Edwards versus JDC were the best things on the show. And then after this, we had the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff, defending the TNA World Tag... Oh, there wasn't there were 3 title matches. I misspoke earlier. There were 3 title matches on this show. But even then, it still kind of felt like the show was unimportant. But, so anyway, my bad. My bad. There were 3 title matches, not 2. I will go back in time and admonish my younger self. I have my lightsaber. I'll impale myself as soon as I'm done recording. So anyway, the Hardys defended against the Righteous in a TNA World Tag Team title match, and this was fine. This was basically Matt and Jeff Hardy beating up even more emo Jeff Hardy, and not as emo Brody King in attack. This was I didn't really care for this. This was fine. Jeff and Matt were fun to watch, and the Righteous were kind of just there as punching bags. And then they acted like they were happy about losing at the very end because, you know, they're crazy. I didn't like that. Like, you're in a tag team title match. Why are you happy about losing? This was just odd. The Righteous are odd, and it was a thing that happened. This match was a thing that happened, and it was cool to see Matt and Jeff Hardy, and that was about it. Man, if you want to talk about a desolate tag team division, look no further than the TNA tag team division, because, like, Raw barely has a tag team division. SmackDown has a tag team division, but it's kind of cold. TNA just barely has a tag team division. Sean, I'm so sorry. You are like the last person on earth that cares about tag team wrestling, and it's so apparent. My condolences to tag team wrestling and Sean McCarty, who's just depressed. But then we had what was supposed to be a triple threat match for the X Division Championship, but again, Leon Slater was unable to attend the show. So this was just a random triple threat match. Joe Hendry versus Cedric Alexander versus Moose. This was good, but nothing was on the line. And it was just a triple threat match for no reason. And I don't know, it was just weird just having a triple threat match for no reason, with nothing on the line. This wasn't even a number one contenders match. Like when this started, I was like, wait, is this like an X Division Championship number one contenders match? Because that would make sense. But no, Cedric Alexander and Moose are going to be getting title matches against the X Division champion Leon Slater at some point in the future. But this very much felt like, well, we advertised a triple threat match, but the reason for the triple threat match isn't here, but we're still going to have a triple threat match, so here you go? I don't know. Again, this whole show felt unimportant. This whole match felt like they were fighting for nothing. Although I will say Moose took a ridiculous back body drop on the steel steps that actually looked absolutely devastating. He's lucky he didn't kill himself. Like, that's a big... Moose is a big dude. Like, he's built like a moose. I see why they call him that. And he took a nasty back body drop on the steel steps. And he did a good job selling it. He did a good job selling it for the rest of the match. And he caught Cedric Alexander in midair with an absolutely nasty-looking spear. And then Joe Hendry won the match with the choke slam, the what's it called? The standing ovation, the standing O on Cedric Alexander. Which, okay, if Cedric Alexander and Moose are going to be challenging for the title soon, why would you pin them? Like, I get it, you have Joe Hendry back from, like, because Joe Hendry's on SmackDown now. And you have him back for one night only. Why did you have him pin Cedric Alexander if Cedric Alexander is going to be challenging for the X Division title? That's kind of stupid. Like, wouldn't you have Moose pin Cedric? Because Moose is also going to be challenging. And they also didn't, they did a poor job of, like, clarifying that. Like, is there going to be another triple threat match? Or is Cedric Alexander going to get the title shot first and then Moose? Or is Moose going to get the title shot first and then Cedric Alexander? They did not do a good job of explaining that. So yeah, I thought it was very silly that Joe Hendry pinned Cedric Alexander in this matchup. Like, you didn't have to pin Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry did not have to win this match. Why couldn't you have one of the challengers pin one of the other challengers? I don't know. I just thought this whole thing was silly. I mean, it was a good match. It just felt like they were fighting for nothing, and then the wrong person won. Like, I like Joe Hendry, but he's not challenging for the X Division title. So why is he winning this match? I don't know. Am I making too much sense? I feel like I'm making too much sense. Although, I actually forgot about something. There was one thing that they did on this show that I actually thought was kind of cool. They did an injury report where they were talking about various wrestlers who were out with injuries. I actually really love that idea. I would love it if WWE would incorporate something similar into their show. But I really, really like that they did an injury report on this show. Granted, they were all kayfabe injuries. Like Steve Maclin got attacked on the previous episode of Impact or whatever, like a couple Impacts ago, so he missed a week of Impact, but he'll be back on the next Impact. So it was stuff like that. It wasn't anything like major, but the concept I really like. So then, okay, before the main event started, we had Santino Marella come out and basically a panel basically giving their predictions for who's going to win the main event. And then the former Sonya Deville came out and yelled at them, and it was like, cut to... Okay, I didn't get this at all. So the babyface general manager is wasting time bringing out an entire panel just to say, who do you think is going to win the main event? And they're all saying the babyface. Just slowing, like, literally grinding the show to a halt. And then the heel general manager comes out and she's like, stop doing this is stupid, show the video package so we can get to the main event. Why is the heel acting like the babyface? And why is the babyface acting like the heel? Why is the babyface slowing down the show? And the heel coming out and fussing at them for slowing down the show and saying, can we get the main event started, please? That was stupid. TNA doing a lot of very strange things that I do not understand. Which is the story of TNA, I guess. It doesn't matter who is in charge of TNA. It does not matter. It does not matter who is the manager, president, king of, or whatever authoritative title you want to give them. TNA will always be TNA. But then we had our main event, which was a Texas death match for the TNA World Championship with Nick Nemeth as the special guest referee. Mike Santana defending the TNA World title against Frankie Kazarian. My main criticism of this match out of the way first. I have seen so many Texas death matches, and they all have different rules. Like, there was literally a Texas death match last year. I believe it was also at Genesis. It was Mike Santana versus Josh Alexander, and that had different rules. That was like no pinfalls, but you win via last man standing or by submission. Or did they have an I Quit? No, they had an I Quit match. I'm dumb. They had an I Quit match last year. Ignore me. But, like, I swear to God, every company does a Texas death match differently, and it gets on my nerves. Because AEW is either last man standing or submission. This Texas death match was you get a pinfall, and then the referee starts counting for the last man standing. But the referee cannot start counting for the last man standing unless you get a pinfall first. So I was thinking, so you have to get a pinfall, and then if you get a pinfall, then the referee can start counting. And then the other person has to get a pinfall, and then after both pinfalls have been achieved, then it's just a last man standing match. No! literally every time you want the referee to count them down for 10, you have to pin them first. So I thought that was really stupid. I did like the rules of this match. I thought were just stupid and confusing. And they did not. And again, they did not do a very good job of explaining it. Like it was one of those matches where the longer the match went, I was like, wait, how does this match work? But there was some cool spot. There was a pile driver on 2 setup chairs that looked absolutely devastating. And we got a little bit of juice, although Frankie Kazarian needs to do a better job when it comes to gigging, because he got like a little sprinkle of blood on his forehead that was gone almost immediately. Not the best blade job I've ever seen. And they fought in the crowd, and it was a wild brawl. And they did some hardcore spots. It felt kind of like a WWE hardcore match where it was kind of tame. I mean, it was fine. It's just the rules were kind of stupid. And then there was a spot where basically Mike tried to do some kind of diving move to the outside, but Frankie caught him in midair with a cutter. Like he caught him in midair with an RKO through a table, but the way they did it looked super goofy and fake. Like, why did Mike jump there? Like, he jumped there just so he could get caught. It did not look great. And then the finish was he did a frog splash off of a ladder through the table in the ring, but Frankie somehow kicked out of that anyway. So then he wrapped up his arm with barbed wire and did his shitty discus lariat to get the pin and the 10 count to retain the title. This was fine. This was your standard hardcore match with some stupid rules attached. And then Nick Nemeth, who was the Call Your Shot winner, which is basically their Money in the Bank. Every company is just stealing from WWE. It's kind of sad. AEW had their totally not Money in the Bank briefcase, and TNA also has their totally not Money in the Bank equivalent. And Nick, whatever his name is, tried to cash in his Call Your Shot whatever trophy for a free title shot, but then he turned around and ended up getting a spin the block lariat that knocked him out, and then Mike Santana walked off as the TNA World Champion. And that was how the show ended. And also, I'm not going to lie, I'm not super crazy about Mike Santana. He's fine. He needs a better finisher. Like, he is in desperate need of an actual finishing move, because spin the block, his discus clothesline sucks. It's not great. I don't buy... Like, really? You do a diving frog splash from the top of a ladder through a table, and you get a 2 count, and you wrap up your fist and you wrap up your arm in barbed wire, and you do a shitty clothesline, and then that's the finish? No, absolutely not. So that was TNA Genesis. The show was fine. If I had to give it oh, hey, Vivi. What is it? My cat's here. I'm being interrupted by Vivi. Vivi, speak. No, it's a microphone. It's not going to hurt. And she ran away. That was the run-in from Vivi here on this episode. I was hoping she would at least chirp at the microphone. But anyway. All right, so TNA Genesis. Focus. I'm once again focusing. This show was fine. It was the most B show to have ever been a B show. And if I were to number grade it, I would probably give it a solid 6 out of 10. There was some good wrestling. Like, the only thing on the show that I really did not like was AJ Francis existing and the intergender match. Those things I did not like, but like everything else was at the bare minimum good or fine or watchable. This was I don't recommend. There's nothing on this show where I'm like, you have to go see this. This was a show. Solid 6 out of 10. Maybe that's a little generous, but I mean, I enjoyed watching it. I didn't hate watching it. The only thing I hated was AJ Francis and I didn't like the intergender match. I thought it was a complete total waste of time. And I just don't like intergender matches as a concept, like at all. But overall, I thought this show was fine. And I really do hope that TNA gets their shit together. How many times has this been said over the course of human history? I hope TNA gets their shit together. They're never going to, but by golly, I want them to replace AEW. It's never gonna happen. I don't like. They'll be lucky to be the number 3 company in the world, but I really want TNA to just pound AEW into the dirt. But we'll see. Like TNA, get better production, get all your wrestlers back. Like, once this visa issue is cleared up, get all of that sorted out, formulate an actual roster, and just put on some good shows. Honestly, your focus right now should be putting on some compelling television. And I might actually watch Impact tonight after I get home from work. We'll see. But yeah, that was TNA Genesis, ladies and gentlemen. And speaking of wrestling pay-per-views in January, I am now going to give my predictions for the WWE Royal Rumble, which is not this coming Saturday, but the following Saturday. What day is that going to be on my calendar? Oh, it is going to be the 31st, the last day of January. Wait, let me double check that. That is that when that's going to be. Hold on just a second. Royal Rumble 2026. Yeah, it is January 31st. What is the start time? It is going to start at 2 o'clock p.m. because, again, they are in Saudi Arabia. All right, so Royal Rumble, only 4 matches, and which is kind of fairly typical for a Royal Rumble because 2 of the matches are the Royal Rumble, and that eats up screen time. So I'm going to go with the singles matches first because there are 2 singles matches. First, it's going to be Drew McIntyre defending the undisputed WWE Championship. Congratulations and huge shout out to Drew McIntyre. I'm so happy that I love Cody Rhodes, but it was time. Drew McIntyre winning the WWE Championship at the beginning of the year was so awesome. And they actually had a really good 3 Stages of Hell match that I really enjoyed. But I'm so happy for Drew McIntyre. He deserves it. After all of the losses, he finally won the WWE title, and I'm so happy for the guy. But he will be defending the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble against either Randy Orton, Trick Williams, Sami Zayn, or Damian Priest. Because this upcoming Saturday is Saturday night's main event, and it's the main event of that is a fatal 4-way number 1 contenders match where the winner will challenge Drew McIntyre at the Royal Rumble for the WWE title. I'm fairly certain, I think it's fairly obvious that it's going to be Sami Zayn. So let's just move ahead with the assumption that Sami Zayn wins the Fatal 4-Way at Saturday night's main event and challenges Drew McIntyre. So with that in mind, it's most likely going to be Drew McIntyre defending the WWE title against Sami Zayn at the Royal Rumble. I'm very much looking forward to that. Because, for one, Sami Zayn is going to be in one of his 34 hometowns, Saudi Arabia, and they love him there. So, I predict this is going to be a fun match. But, according to Drew McIntyre, and I think he's right, he's had 11 singles matches with Sami Zayn, and he's defeated Sami Zayn every single time. So, he's 11-0 against Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn was earlier this year, I think it was either earlier this year or at the very end of 2025, basically saying, 2026 is the year where I'm going to win a world title.
Are you sure about that?
My prediction, what do I think is going to happen and what do I want to happen? It's going to be the same thing. I think Drew McIntyre is going to be 12-0 against Sami Zayn. Drew McIntyre, I seriously doubt. And I also think he should not lose his first title defense. So I think Drew McIntyre is walking out of the Royal Rumble still the WWE Champion. And I think that's what should happen. He should not lose this title. For Drew to finally win the WWE Championship after all this time, just to turn around and lose it immediately, that would be such a slap in the face. That would suck. I like Sami Zayn, and I would love to see him as a world champion, but I do not think they should take the title off of Drew this early, and I don't think they're going to. So I think Drew retains. The other singles match, which is one I'm very interested in, because I genuinely do not know what they're going to do. It is a rematch between Gunther and AJ Styles, but AJ Styles' career is on the line. Ooh, this is going to be fun. It is a very real possibility that we are going to see AJ Styles retire at the Royal Rumble in less than 2 weeks. It is a very real possibility that we're about to see the end of AJ Styles. What I think is going to happen. All right, my predictions. I think that Gunther is going to win this match by putting AJ Styles to sleep. I think that he is going to beat him, and I think he should. Because Gunther, after making John Cena tap, Gunther should not be losing anytime soon. So, here's what I think is going to happen. He's going to beat AJ Styles, and then AJ Styles is going to... What I think is going to happen is AJ Styles, knowing him, he's probably going to retire in TNA. I think AJ is going to wrap up with WWE at the Royal Rumble. That's going to be his last match for WWE, which is very fitting because that would be literally the 2016 Royal Rumble was when AJ Styles made his debut. So it would have been 10 years of AJ Styles in WWE, but I do think that there's a very good chance that AJ Styles is going to go back to wrestle for TNA for the remainder of however long he's going to wrestle in 2026. And he's probably going to retire in TNA. I feel like that's where AJ Styles... Because that's where AJ really got his start. That's where AJ made his name in TNA. So it would make sense for him to want to retire in TNA. And I think that that's what's going to happen. So yeah, my prediction, what do I think is going to happen? What do I want to happen? Gunther wins, probably by making AJ Styles pass out in the sleeper hold. We might even get a tap out. He might make AJ Styles tap out. We might. And honestly, I kind of hope that happens just to piss off the internet. Because the internet's still wrong about the finish of Gunther versus John Cena, by the way. That was the perfect finish for that match, and I will hear no arguments. So yeah, Gunther wins, and then Gunther's also going to be in the Royal Rumble. Speaking of the Royal Rumble, we have the Women's Royal Rumble, which is... I'm surprised that they're allowing there to be a Women's Royal Rumble because they're in Saudi Arabia. I didn't know that many women were allowed in one spot at one time in Saudi Arabia. I didn't know that women were legal in Saudi Arabia, but the less said about that, the better. Who do I think is going to win the Women's Royal Rumble? Honestly, I'm not sure. Who do I want to win the Women's Royal Rumble? Honestly, I don't really care. I honestly do not care who wins the Women's Royal Rumble. Who do I think is going to win the Women's Royal Rumble? Honestly, it kind of pains me to say this. I think Liv Morgan has a pretty decent shot of winning the Royal Rumble this year. It's either going to be Liv Morgan or Bianca Belair is going to return and she's going to win the Women's Royal Rumble. So it's either going to be Liv Morgan or Bianca Belair. That's my prediction. But if I had to pick one, if Bianca shows up, if Bianca returns at the Rumble, then she's winning. If she does not, then Liv Morgan is winning. Because I think that they would love to do Liv Morgan and Stephanie... I think they would love to do Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer at some point for the Women's World title. But I do think the WrestleMania match is going to be Stephanie Vaquer versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World title. I think the women's matches at WrestleMania is going to be that, and it's also probably going to be Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. So, if Bianca Belair returns, she's probably winning the Rumble. So that's my prediction. But it depends on if she shows up, then she's winning. If she doesn't, which I find that hard to imagine, it's either going to be Bianca or Liv. I could go either way. And now, the Men's Royal Rumble. Who is going to win the Men's Royal Rumble? Oh, I honestly don't know. There are a number of people that could potentially win the Men's Rumble. Okay, so these are a couple possibilities I'm going to float here. It is very possible, let's say AJ Styles defeats Gunther, which I would not have AJ Styles beat Gunther. If AJ Styles beats Gunther, Gunther said he's going to be in the Royal Rumble. If AJ beats Gunther, Gunther may likely win the Royal Rumble. And that would immediately win him his heat back. He would immediately get his heat back. But I don't think that they're going to have Gunther lose to AJ Styles. So who's going to win the Royal Rumble? That is a good question. Who? I think the best choice to win the Royal Rumble would be Braun Breaker. I think that there is a very good chance that Braun Breaker wins the Royal Rumble. I also think that as far as Gunther, if Gunther beats AJ Styles, which I think he will, there have been a lot of rumors of Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. So I'm thinking that Brock Lesnar is going to eliminate Gunther from the Royal Rumble, and that's how we end up with Gunther versus Brock at WrestleMania. And what might be Brock Lesnar's retirement match. So that might be how it goes down. But I think that Braun Breaker is going to win the Royal Rumble and go on to challenge CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. And honestly, I would be down for that. I would very much be down for that. So we'll see. We will see who wins the Royal Rumble. My pick is Braun Breaker, and I think that's who should win. But again, we will see. There have been some rumblings that Cody Rhodes might win. I love Cody Rhodes, but the only way I would want Cody Rhodes to win the Royal Rumble is if he challenges CM Punk for the world title. I would love to see Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk at WrestleMania. But again, we'll just have to see. My prediction is Braun Breaker. All right, so my predictions. Drew McIntyre retains, Gunther wins, Bianca Belair wins, and Braun Breaker wins. Is that what happens at the Royal Rumble? I guess we're just going to have to wait and see and find out when the Royal Rumble actually comes around. But we are less than 2 weeks away from the Royal Rumble, and I'm pretty sure that me, Sean, and Skylar are going to do a review of the Royal Rumble. So be looking forward to our Royal Rumble review in the next couple weeks. I hope that the ice is not too bad because I like making YouTube and Rumble videos. And that concludes this episode of Post TAP. Thank you guys so much for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Later, everybody.